Hey, what's up, Saw Yackers? Welcome back to another Tackle Tuesday, or Talk Fishing to me, or it's Tuesday and everybody's bored and let's just do some yakking. Little midweek, help us get through kind of a deal. Uh, for those of you who are new, the format here is super informal, right? We're going to talk about how the last week of fishing went for us and for you guys as well. Please chime in. My lovely assistant over here will be monitoring the comments as we go. And please share stories, ask questions, give us advice because we're trying to learn and get better every day too, just like everybody else, right? So, with all that said,
Yes, I'm still trying to find the video. So.
okay, we'll give her a minute here to get everything situated. You, Speaking of which, let me share with you a little bit of the challenge that a person faces when they decide, hey, you know what? I'm going to put myself out there and I'm going to start to make YouTube videos. Let me just tell you, that's not the easiest road to go down. Especially, let's just say maybe you're a 50-year-old dude who's pretty limited technologically speaking, uh, and the learning curve that goes along with it, you can't imagine. There's so much, right? Like the first thing you begin to learn about is, well, I have to become more active in social media, right? I got to start, making posts not only on YouTube, but I've got to make posts on Facebook and on
Yep.
TikTok and on Instagram and all these different places. And when you're still in that mind frame of the old Facebook and Tickagram, because you don't know the first thing about them, it's a little daunting. So step one, at least for us or for me, was first you got to buy this goofy little camera called a GoPro, right? And you got to learn how that little thing works. And you think that's going to be fairly simple, learning how to point and shoot a camera, right? It's a video camera and it's this big, right? You point it and push a button, right? Wrong. It is not even close to being that easy. So then you begin to get your head wrapped around how to manipulate all the settings in this little tiny camera to try to make it do what you want it to do. Then you figure that out. Oh, cool, I'm getting all this really cool footage now of these different things that we're doing. She's checking here to make sure everything's okay.
Okay, it's live on here, but it doesn't show it on YouTube Studio. So.
Gotcha.
All right. Well, if you have comments, hopefully they'll come in a bit. So.
So, cool, I'm getting all this cool footage, right? We're going swimming and we're doing things and stuff with this new little cool camera. Well, then you begin to compile and amass all this footage. And then you got to figure out how to do something with that footage. And then you learn what it means to edit footage.
Yep.
And once you're ready to begin to learn how to edit this footage, again, a guy with no technical background, no education and such matters. Um, and it's not easy. And you find, okay, well now I gotta have software to pull this footage into, and then learn how to clip it and put it together and do different things to it to try to make it at least somewhat interesting, so that maybe somebody on this thing out there called YouTube might want to watch it. Um, and it's not easy. It's daunting, guys. And when we first started, uh, if I made a if we made a 20-minute video, because in the beginning she was really doing most of the editing and I was kind of in the back seat, and then later that had to that had to change and I had to take over control of the editing because she had too much on her plate, with working and all these things that we also have to do. Um, when I first started to do that, like, 20-minute video, I might spend 2 hours at the table, at the desk, editing to try to make a video out of a bunch of footage. And guess what? Those videos, they sucked, right? Yeah, after you spend 2 hours on it, it sucks. Well, 2 hours at the editing table, maybe a couple of days of getting footage to try to do something with. And nowadays, and I'll be, you know, transparent, they're still not very good, I suppose. But nowadays, on if I make that same 20-minute long format video, now I'm spending 15 to 20 hours editing to get that 20 minutes. Um, because we might be out doing our thing for 2 days, and out of those 2 days, you have 100 video
Yeah.
clips, and each one 20 seconds to 20 minutes long. You got to watch every single one of them. You got to make notes of what's in them. You got to bring them out of that software into your editing software, the ones that you want to use. And then you have to get them in order, get them organized. Then you have to bring them down into the timeline. And then you begin to clip and cut and clip and cut and clip and cut and copy and paste and all these things. And then once you think you got that cool, then you're going to add a few effects here and there. And oh, now it's still super boring. Now we got to start laying music and sound effects in on top. All because at one point in time, somebody said to you, the things y'all are doing are kind of cool, and other folks might enjoy sort of some of those experiences, so why don't you share it with them in a video? Now I'm all night long, late hours at night at the editing table, because again, you got to work during the day, right? And then on your few days off, you got to get out there and do stuff to get that footage. Doesn't leave much time to do something with all that footage, so it ain't easy. That's all I was trying to get across. So, that said, that's enough yakking. Uh, let's get into the meat of it, shall we? Uh, this last weekend, I feel like I'm talking a lot, and nobody else is.
Well, what do you want me to say? You want me to set it up?
Yeah, because I.
Okay. So so St. Pete had given me a rod to go to the Kingfish tournament, and as you guys know, if you watched last week's live, we ended up in a rescue mission and didn't catch kingfish. So I owed them a video, and so last Friday, I believe, Will and I ran up to St. Pete Fishing Outfitters, and we filmed. We decided to do a challenge, and so what we were going to do is go in and each pick a lure for each other, and then you have to go and then catch a fish on whatever lure. Like I picked for him or he picked for me. So
Yeah, I picked one. She had to use it. She picked one. I had to use it.
So we get to St. Pete Fishing Outfitters. They were really busy last week, which was good. And we wanted to tell you guys or show you what we ended up picking. And a lot of y'all have been asking us about the prawn.
We're not. Nobody's. To be clear, nobody's asking us about porn stars. And if they are,
prawn stars. Okay, so I don't typically use a plastic that looks like a shrimp. There's a bunch of them out there. I have used them, but they always seem to be super fragile and tear apart easily. So I go more with like a grubby looking, the Z-mans that we talk about all the time.
a paddle tail.
Paddle tail. But we get in there and Will, you found it.
Got her go.
Oh, thank you. So we go in there and Will picks the prawn stars for me, okay?
Hold on a second. For those of you who may not know, the prawn star is a soft plastic bait made by Z-Man, and this is what it looks like. Hopefully I'm going to get this in a place where you can see it.
It's a little lagging, so it'll take me a minute.
So that's a prawn star, guys, and it's available in about 100 million different colors and 3 or 4 different sizes.
Yeah.
This is like the 3-inch, 3/16 ounce weight And they're really a pretty great bait. As you hopefully you can see there, the weight is incorporated into the belly of the bait. So it's basically like a weighted hook with a soft plastic on it. And this thing is, it's super trendy right now. Everybody's talking about it. A lot of you guys have asked us about it. What do you think about the prawn stars? And we had never used it. So I just kind of thought this challenge would be a good opportunity uh, to do that and to share with you our experience with it. Now, I picked it for Aaron because I'm a nice husband. Um, and Aaron, tell us about what was your experience with it?
So I started with it trolling on our way. We actually went fishing in the back of Tampa Bay, and against our better judgment, it's rough back there. Anyways, I started on the grass beds, trying to.
Tampa Bay backwaters are not our favorite.
No, but we were trying to troll for trout. I would say I caught my first trout within 6 or 7 minutes.
Spoiler alert, you'll all be able to see this coming weekend because
Yeah.
The video should drop if I have enough midnight hours left in me between now and Saturday morning to get it done and posted. You'll be able to see it.
Yeah. So I only caught trout and what else did I catch out on the grass flat?
I think
There
that's
was
it.
something else. Anyways, I mainly caught trout with it, but it was very successful. I have no complaints. I did something tore one of mine in half, cut it in half, and then the bummer. Okay, this is my pet peeve about them, is that it's not. It's all one piece, and Will can tell you the technical fisherman
No, you
German.
got it.
But it's all one piece, and so when it does break off, you can't just slide it off the hook and slide another one on. You have to retie,
Yeah.
which to me, it just takes more time. I like my paddle tails because I can put 10 in my boat and just, as they
Yeah, you
get.
got one jig head, and
Yeah,
as that soft plastic gets wore
yeah.
out, pull it off, throw a new one on, and keep going. And with this particular bait, that is not an option. She's right. It's a one-piece deal. It,
And Stephen asked, do we use a loop knot on the shrimp? So he was wanting to know how we tied it on. Which I think you did on that
I'm
one.
gonna try to show you, Stephen, if I can get the camera right for you here.
Which you
Hopefully
did
you
good
can
before.
see this. This one's a little twisted up because it's been used all day. Let's see if we can get this corrected. There we go. If you can see the knot there, yes, sir, Stephen. That's a loop knot.
Yeah, good question.
Yep.
Um, and also someone else asked Chefwa Tata, do you do grouper fishing? We like to grouper fish, yes.
Yes, we do occasionally grouper fish. We don't do a lot of it because we are typically fishing in our kayaks. And as you probably know, to find the real grouper, typically speaking, not always, to find those bigger grouper, you got to get out a pretty good ways. Um, and we're just not going to head out 6, 8, 10 miles in our kayaks into the ocean. Um,
Sometimes we catch smaller grouper off of our kayaks, and recently we went offshore with Captain Kenny of Uncle Bear Charters, and
she caught a
I caught a
stud.
decent sized grouper then.
Decent. It was a stud. Gag grouper like 25 and a half
It was
inches.
fun.
We didn't measure it real close and careful because they were out of season.
Yeah,
So no matter what, we were letting it go.
We were out fishing for hogfish, and I caught a grouper, but it was still fun. I got the picture at least.
That thing was a bruiser. So yeah, we grouper fish. We love it. I mean, grouper fishing is amazing. It's a big, powerful fish that pulls super hard. You just got to be able to get to where they live.
Now, the good part of this story, back to the story of Will he was sweet and picked out a pretty easy lure for me to catch things on. I wanted to make it more challenging for Will because he's a very seasoned fisherman, and I thought,
And because she's mean to me like that.
I'm not mean. I wanted I wanted it to be a little more challenging so you guys would actually care, maybe, hopefully. And so I picked out,
So before you even tell him what you picked out, can I just show him?
yeah.
I want to show you what she picked out for me. Remember,
I think he's being a baby the whole time.
that shrimp I got for her was beautiful, man. That sucker looked natural. It hammered fish all day. That, my friends, is what she picked out for me. That is, as you probably recognize, a DOA shrimp. Which a DOA shrimp's an awesome thing. Been around for like 200 million years. I'm pretty sure dinosaurs used to use a DOA shrimp back when they were fishing. And it slays. It's amazing. But nobody ever knew they made a DOA shrimp in this color. I mean,
Okay, two things. Number one, it was the last package of that color. Number two, it was on sale. Okay, third thing.
that's because that package was hanging there for 9 years.
Third thing is when we got to the counter, our sweet friend Core, who also has a channel called
Pimp of the Flies.
Pimp of the Flies, and he's an amazing fly fisherman. He said, "You're gonna be fine. You're gonna catch fish on that." And I was like, "See, I wanted a wild color just to see if these stupid trout will bite on anything." Well, what happened?
So when you buy a DOA shrimp, the package that it comes in, there's 3 of them. Here's the first 2 that were in that package. If I can get hold of it to show you. Yeah, they're bit in half.
They look delicious to the
In
fish.
fact, and I didn't even notice before, this one's also got a chunk out of it right there.
Yeah.
So my point is, and these, without exaggerating, this one I cast it 4 times. And on the 4th time, bam, it was bit in half. Then I tied this one on. And that happened in the very first cast. So in a total of 5 casts, I had 2 of those baits destroyed. Now, they were small fish doing this to it. I kind of feel like the way they were just so quickly like scissors snipping them off, I kind of got the feeling maybe they were even puffer fish that were doing it, because they're just like those little beak teeth they have, done, gone.
Right.
So after the second one happened, I said, okay, enough. I'm not tying on the third one because it's the last one I've got. I'm not going to do that right here, right now. I'm going to save that last one for later when I'm in a different spot, because I got to try to catch something on it. And again, spoiler alert, this is all on video. You'll be able to see it for yourself on Saturday.
So Stephen asked, what color shrimp were we using, and also how are we fishing the shrimp?
Okay, thank you, Stephen. That was
and Alex, I'll get to you in a minute.
That was something I wanted to bring up. Here was a huge difference between the two. The DOA shrimp, I did wind up catching some trout. I only caught small trout on it, but I caught 2 like in a row. Boom, boom. Once we got out of that area and off to a grass flat, and then I quit. I threw that shrimp casting for a lot of hours. In other spots with nothing. Then the fish that I did catch on it, both were on a jigging cast, right? Bouncing it along the bottom. I'm going to tell you, with a DOA shrimp, what this super simple bait does really well. And Stephen, before you ask, take a look. That one's got a loop knot on it as well, if you can see that. And when you put the loop knot on this shrimp, what he does so beautifully well is the fall. When this thing is sinking, there's nothing prettier than a DOA shrimp the way it sinks. The weight is slightly forward in the belly, so it makes it fall a tiny bit head first like this, really slow, and that tail just wiggles real subtly as it's sinking, and it looks like a real shrimp. I got a little footage of it in the video where you'll see it doing that. It's beautiful. And the way you fish this thing is super slow. And once it hits the bottom, you let it sit there for just a moment. And then you just twitch it a bit and let it fall again. Because that fall is where the juice is in this thing, right? Is in that fall.
Mm-hmm.
So and so then my question to myself was, well, can a DOA shrimp be fished on the troll? Because as you all know, we do a lot of trolling and
I love
fishing.
trolling.
We like to pedal the Hobies and move along. You get like this really great, easy, efficient exercise. You wouldn't guess it by looking at me. You would if you looked at me 4 months ago and looking at me today, you'd understand. Um, but you get this really great low impact exercise out there in Mother Nature. So that's what we like to do. So I wanted to see if I could troll the DOA shrimp. The answer to that is no. Not so much as a nibble on
Huh.
this thing when I was trolling. Again, the color on this thing is uh, out of the norm, right? Nothing in nature looks like this, and I suspect that's why I only caught the small trout on it, because bigger trout, like, that's not. I never seen nothing like that. I ain't eating it. And the little guys are like, "Oh, we're hungry and stupid. Give it to me," you know.
Yeah.
Um, but here, that's what's interesting. This bait, the DOA does really well, but you gotta cast and jig. This, Aaron hammered trout on that
The prawn
Z-Man
star.
Prawn Star. Hammered trout all on the troll. I don't know how much casting you did that day. She's not big on casting a lure.
Yeah,
It's
I
not really her
literally
thing.
just toss it behind the boat and start pedaling, and then I have a cadence. I'm, jigging the.
She's bouncing it along behind her.
Yeah, and I caught a ton of trout on that.
So she's not a big caster, is my point. I might, next time we go out,
Try that one.
I might cast him for a while up in the mangroves under docks and see if I can get redfish and snook
Hmm.
to eat it that way. Um,
Alex said, Alex here, yes, that guy. Once the water warms up, will you stay inshore or go offshore bay to hit colder water or fish only in the mornings? That's
so
a great question.
yeah, that is a great. There's kind of a lot of questions in that.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to dissect it, Alex. Um, you are correct. As when the water temperatures are down, you're well suited to get further in the backwaters where the water is shallower and gets more sunlight and it tends to warm up and the fish will push back in those backwaters. Then, excuse me, I said all that kind of backwards. When it's cooler out, warmer waters in the back.
Yeah.
And yes, you're right. As it warms up, we will begin to push away from those backwaters and onto bigger water. We still are not real big on fishing offshore in our kayaks. I do it sometimes. I don't take Aaron to do it, uh, just because it can get to be
It
a
can
lot.
get dicey. But that's why we don't like fishing in the back of Tampa Bay because you've got to have water. You need to have cool water that is moving, that's close to the open ocean.
Moving is the key, what she
Yeah.
just said. Especially as it heats up and as those water temperatures rise, we try to fish bigger water, but the key, what she just said, moving. So we try to be close to a pass, right?
Yes.
Close to where either the bay or the intercoastal waterway, where those things open up out into the open ocean, those passes, we try to be
Hmm.
close to a pass. Because anywhere where there's that fresh ocean water coming from the Gulf of America into the ICW or into the bay, those areas are bringing a little bit cooler water. Cooler water carries what? More oxygen, and
Hmm.
as a result, typically carries more bait, right? So then the predators follow. So you're absolutely right.
Yep.
As it gets hot and the temperatures rise, we look for bigger water with more movement.
Good
Hope
question.
that, I hope that answers your question, Alex. Um, Back to the prawn star versus DOA shrimp. Um, the next thing that I especially always think about, I tend to focus on cost because I'm budget minded, I'm value minded, I'm cheap.
Right.
I buy a lot of crap. I do. I can admit that. But I am a little like conscious about what I'm buying. I'm always the first thing I look at is the price, always, right? Um, just
Yes.
like somebody was messaging me today asking for suggestions on a reel to go on a specific rod that he has, and we talked back and forth about it for quite a while. Um, and he and I both were the same way. He was like, you know what, I don't mind if to spend some money on a good reel, but I'm not trying to drop 300 on a reel that I'm not going to use all the time either. So that's me. Like I want some good, and I'm cool with paying for it, but I want to keep that under wraps. All that to talk about the cost of these two different lures. The Let's start with the DOA. Even though that one's only half, you don't get it for half price. You still got to pay full price. Um, a package of DOA shrimp.
It was on sale.
Yeah,
It
but
said it
we
was
ain't going on that.
normally,
Normally, I want to say they're like
yes,
$8.
$7.99
Okay, somewhere in the neighborhood of
for
$8
three.
for a package of DOA shrimp that has three in it. So what's that, like 250, 275 a piece?
Which, compared to the paddle tails that we are tried and trues, it's expensive.
It's still expensive compared to a paddle tail.
Yeah.
Even a premium paddle tail like a Z-Man or still. Um, and the reality of the DOA plastic, the formula of plastic they use, is that it is not durable.
Thank you. I'm
Um,
not a DOA fan.
we use a whole lot of DOA paddle tails, a DOA cowl, and their shad, 3-inch shad, and we
Yeah.
use like two or three different colors, and they are fish catching machines. But
They tear apart easy.
you're gonna catch one or two fish on it, and
Yeah.
then you're gonna throw it away and put a new one on, and put a new one on, and you're gonna have a bunch of them with you because you're gonna go through them in a course of a day. But they do make up for that because DOA does a great job of keeping the cost down. You can buy like that Cal Shad paddle tail that we use. If you buy the regular package, I think there's 12 of them in the package, and it's like 6 or 7. I think it's about $6 for 12 of those paddle tails.
Yeah.
So who cares if you go through all six of them in an afternoon, right? It's 50 cents a piece. Who cares? Whereas like the Z-Man, you get, instead of 12 in the package, you only get 6 in the package, and it's $8. So it's a lot more expensive, but the Z-Man plastic, the Elastec as they call it, that crap's amazing, man.
It doesn't
It
tear up.
does not. If you put that paddle Z, that 3-inch paddle tail, on their trout eye jig head, you might use the same one all day. You might catch 15, 20 trout on the same paddle tail. So um, these guys about $8 for three, so like 275 a piece. This guy, he's a little more expensive. He's $10 roughly, $9 or $10, and his package only includes two. So you're talking $4 to $5 a piece versus 275 a piece.
Yeah.
Uh, but this is going to last longer, unless his tail is
I did get
segmented.
mine cut
Yeah,
off.
she got one bit off. This is her second of two. Uh, you can see the way their tail is segmented there. There's not a lot of meat there for something can bite that off fairly easily. So,
Alex said, I always say I'd rather pay for knowledge than any material items, reading, water, learning patterns, bait, etc.
agreed. And Alex, too, Sonny, sorry, dog's out here with us, and there's a squirrel in the tree in the backyard, and she hates squirrels.
She's a good girl.
Alex, too, speaking of that, to me, when it comes to knowledge on the water, the most important piece of knowledge I hope to glean from people when I'm on the water and I see other fishermen, and you always stop, hey, how you doing? You catching fish? What are you finding? Blah, 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 all that stuff. The question we need to be asking is, how deep are you finding the fish? It's all about depth, guys.
It really is remarkable.
It's
I've just now learned that because I'll ask Will because he has a depth finder. What's our depth? What's our depth? I ask him like
I'm gonna
100
have to put a
times.
graph on her kayak
All
just so.
day. I'm like, what's our depth? What's our depth?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because the depth is key. And we
Yeah.
know, especially fishing saltwater, we know you got to be finding some structure somewhere, whether it's a little rock pile on the bottom or a dock or a mangrove, or tree underwater or what, or shipwreck or whatever. We're looking for some kind of structure, but it's about the depth, and you'll be shocked when you begin to find these patterns. And like for us in our home waters and the places where we fish most, like I already know that if we want to catch trout, all I got to do is watch that graph as we leave the beach or wherever, or the boat ramp or wherever we're launching from. All I got to do is watch for that depth. And as soon as it says 4 feet, I'll tell Aaron, troll. As soon as it says 4 feet, boom, get your bait
It's
out and
time.
just get moving. You'll find them. And then once you find 10 feet, reel it in.
Yeah,
You're done.
they're done.
You're going to find most of them from 4 to 8 feet. And you'll occasionally find them in that 8 to 10. 10 and up, forget it. The only way you're going to find fish in that 10 and up water is if there's some kind of structure on the bottom, if there's a rock pile or something like that. Short of that, 10 foot of water around here, again, where we live, that 10 feet of water will be an absolute desert.
So Shelby, my girl, Shelby, my friend, is on. She said, "So when we come and go in July, is that what we're gonna do? Go to a pass like, and this is my only example I know, John's Pass. The water will be too warm for what we did in February, I'm assuming. Or if I'm wrong, don't say anything if I'm wrong.
If
No,
I'm wrong, don't say
no,
anything.
that's a great question though.
No, you are correct. However, some of the places we took you when you were last here, everybody, this is our friend Shelby. Shelby and her husband Mike
Uh-huh.
live in Minnesota, and they come down for vacation in Florida once or twice a year. We first met them a few years ago when they booked trips to go out with us, which, by the way, you also all do that too. And we quickly became fast friends.
Yes.
Um,
And now we get to spend 4th of July with them, and
yeah.
we're super excited.
Uh,
I made a paper chain.
Also, if you think about it, Shelby, some of the places we took you last time you were here, we actually were right next to the ocean, right? We were fishing
Hmm.
right at one spot in particular that we're not going to disclose in these kind of conversations. Uh, is right at a pass where there's a lot of fresh water moving all the time, and we always find fish there.
Hey, the Alex that is asking questions is the Alex that we always see
Hobie
out.
Alex.
We have like 5 different Alexes in our life, so sorry it took us a minute to catch on, but he said, absolutely agree on depth. Can't wait to see you guys again at the super duper secret spot. Yes, do not tell your friends, okay, Alex?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll bring the wife this time.
There,
That would be great.
there's another super duper secret spot also, Alex, that's not terribly far away from the secret spot to which you are referring. There's another really sweet spot just a couple miles down the road. Um,
Oh, Steven's working on installing a torpedo on his Hobie PA-14.
well, Stephen will have his torpedo and he will be a much higher member of society than I am.
Dang, you're gonna be hanging with the big
He's gonna be
boys.
like, never mind, I can't be,
Seen with you
yeah, I can't be with
Flintstone.
the riffraff over there at Salt Yak.
We're over there Flintstone.
Yeah. Uh-huh. That's
Well,
awesome,
listen,
Stephen. Congratulations.
I only have to do leg day in the gym once a week because my other day is on the kayak.
If you had a torpedo, you'd have to have leg day 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah, so no, that's awesome. I'm excited for you. I sometimes look at the guys in kayaks with the little motor on the back. Is that what a torpedo is?
Yeah.
And I'm like, dang, that looks awesome. Especially at the end of the day, we stay out till like 5 o'clock, and then we're like, we gotta head back, and you're against the current and the wind, and you're tired, and
There've
then
been
you gotta load everything up, and
one, talking about going offshore. Um, one day, I don't know if it was last year or year before. It was in the summertime. It was hotter than the blue blazes, and I did take her offshore. We were at Dunedin, and we pedaled
yes,
out
that was a good day.
Hurricane Pass between Honeymoon and Caladesi Islands, the pass there. Headed out, and we went out. I mean, we went out far enough that it wasn't for sissies. We were probably 2 to 3 miles off the beach. Now remember, you've launched back here at the
It's
at the
far.
causeway, and you got to pedal all that through the bay, out through the ICW, out the pass, and then 2 or 3 miles out. I mean, it
Mhm.
ain't for sissies. And we got out there and we fished. We did all right. We ironically, it was kind of crazy. We caught all the same stuff we could have caught right by the
Well, I
beach
feel
where we
like you
launched.
caught a bluefish, and then I know I saw a triple tail. I don't remember if we caught any
We did
triple
not
tail.
get the triple tail. We did see
Okay,
one.
yeah,
I hooked up on a big kingfish and he dragged me around for
yes,
about 30 seconds. It was super fun.
that's
Before he
right.
broke all my crap. Um, and we hooked up on a few sharks out there, but it's weird. We also caught a bunch of trout out there, and I'm like, come on, I could catch trout right at the
Yeah,
beach where we launched. But anyways, all that to say, as it began to get late in the day, and whew, all right, it's time to head back in. I was a dum dum, and I didn't plan any of this very well. And we're coming back in against the tide. It's an outgoing tide, and we're trying to come in the pass
in the ICW,
in a little
which
plastic boat that you
yeah.
got to pedal. And dude,
I remember there was a sign on Caladesi Island, and I was pedaling, and I could not pass the sign. I just kept looking at the sign, and you start to panic because you're like, I'm
I'm
gonna
never
be
getting
out
back.
here the rest of my life pedaling. But
When
you
you're
know,
pedaling hard and you're not moving, you're just maintaining,
yeah,
and you've got a mile and a half, 2 miles still to go ahead of you,
yes.
and you can't progress. You're just maintaining. So at that point, I had to tie a rope around her and help her, and pedaling as hard as I could, and her pedaling too.
Around my kayak, not me.
And not only was she pedaling, but she also had her paddle in her
Oh
hands.
my gosh, I forgot about that. I've had that happen a couple of times where I couldn't make progress.
And by
Alex said, tarpon, we need to get. I agree, we need to get on the tarpon. My son caught in one of our kayaks a tarpon, and you have caught tarpon in the kayaks. I have not.
my boy got one the very first time I ever took him out in the kayaks in Florida.
He's lucky like that.
Like he bass fished with me in Missouri in the kayaks, but when we first moved to Florida, and he was 17 years old, I think, at the time. First time out, we've been on the water for like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
We're snook fishing. I had caught bait. We had like 3 to 4 inch pinfish that we were using as snook bait against a seawall and mangroves. And he's back behind me, and all of a sudden, I just hear his reel just screaming. And I look back, and his eyes are like saucers. And about that time, the tarpon comes out of the water.
Yeah.
Kaboosh!
We
And
have a video on that on YouTube too.
yeah,
I think. Is it?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a really bad video because my adrenaline was pounding so hard. I didn't even get the camera turned on until it was almost over with. But anyways, when that fish first leaves the water, he says, "What do I do?" I said, "Hold on to my beep rod. Don't lose it." And that fish proceeded over the next 50 minutes. That tarpon dragged him and his kayak about 2.5 miles.
Yeah.
Uh, it was really a super cool experience. So all that to say, Alex, you want to catch some tarpon? I know some spots. That particular spot is really
I
pretty
love that
good
spot.
for them, and it's an easy paddle. It's an easy launch, free parking, easy launch, easy paddle, very little boat traffic, and the tarpon get in there.
Shelby said she would have died. I know. We won't take you in any dangerous situations when you come in July.
Aaron
But
said that. I didn't say that. I'm probably going to take you somewhere
I
dangerous.
think we need to baby step her, you
We
know.
already did that. We did we took her to 2 baby step places. Now it's time to get sketchy.
We do Dunedin would or Dunedin. Gosh, I've been corrected on that so many times. I have like trauma from it.
What'd
Dun-
you call it? Oh!
Dunedin is would be fun for Shelby.
Yeah,
We've caught Shelby, just FYI, we've caught giant hammerhead sharks there and stuff. We would have a good time.
there's a lot of sharks
And
there.
we could take her to Caladesi, which the water's like the Caribbean. It's unbelievable.
All of you watching, by the way, in case you're wondering, yep, that's the new Salt Yak swag hats. Uh,
These are almost gone, you guys. The girls, if you want one for your lady, these are selling out really quick, which I'm surprised. I'm
and
happy.
guys, come on. I mean, come on. Y'all are letting the girls.
Yeah, exactly.
You know how much crap I'm never going to hear the end of if the pink one sells out first?
If you want a hat, go on Salt. What's our
Sorry,
website?
Charters.
Saltyackcharters.com. We have our merchandise tab, and you can pay with PayPal. It's super easy, which you can use your credit card or however you want to pay. But
Or
yeah,
if you don't want to do all that, drop a comment here
yeah,
to say,
we can
I
reach
want
out
a
to you.
hat, and I'll respond to you, and we'll figure it out from there.
Yep. And we're still working on shirts. We got a new local lady, and she's getting it all together for us. So
There might be one or two in there that's going to be pretty cool.
yes.
Stay tuned for that. Shelby, I think your husband messaged me the other day and said, I need a shirt, so tell him to put a pin in it. Hang tight. We'll get to it quick as we can.
Shelby said she could hang, just pay attention to when the current is. And she likes danger. We both like danger. And she wants a hat, sign her up.
Sorry, Shelby, the pink ones are sold out. You can't get
No, she has to have one.
them. Okay. Well, then they might be sold out here pretty quick. I think it's really, guys, we appreciate y'all so much. I can't even
Yes,
begin to
thank
tell you.
you.
We got the hats last week. We talked about them for the first time in the live last week, and well, I've been to the post office dropping shipments every day since, and couldn't appreciate you more. Thank
Yes,
you.
thank you guys so much.
Hmm.
It's fun. It's a good community. I wanted to say one more thing. Um, I think and I always go deep with stuff, but we get caught up in our own crap all the time. We were out on the water on Saturday,
Hmm.
and we're kind of stressed out because we're in the back of Tampa Bay. The water's not moving. It's shallow. Blah blah
And we
blah.
have been fishing for hours
And
with
we're
nothing.
griping, right? We're being little babies. Well, we come up on this center console, and we're in our little kayaks, and we come up on this big center console, pretty boat, and the guy goes, "Hey, do you guys need any live bait?"
You know why he said that? Because he saw that I was casting this.
He felt sorry for us, okay? Anyways, this guy said, "Listen," he kept asking because we're like, "Oh no, we're
He said
good."
it like 4 times, like, dude, really, come over here. Let me
Yeah,
give you some bait.
he was at the Skyway. He caught a bunch of pinfish or
Greenbacks.
greenbacks, and he said, "Dude, I have like 60. Let me give you some." And here's this big boat that's giving us live bait. We got to do more of that. We got to do more kindness, you guys.
He
We
was
got to
super
think of
amazing.
others, be sweet to each other. That's kind of the
And
message.
shame on me for not having the presence of mind to go beep
Yeah.
and hit the camera and record that. Because that's the kind of stuff we all need to see. We all need to hear about random strangers, right?
And
Doing random acts of kindness
yeah,
just
because
to
the
help
news
somebody
is
out.
showing all these charter captains screaming at each other and wanting to fight. And so let's take it back down to peaceful, sweet, kind.
We had another one like that a few weeks ago as well. Uh, we met some people on the beach at one of our super secret spots. Be quiet, Alex. Uh, uh, we fish there pretty regular, and we see these other people there pretty regular, and they're incredibly just warm, nice people. Leah and Christos are their names. I suppose Christos and Leah are their names. Like from the moment we pulled up, they're like, "Hey, we see you out here all the time." Right? They have a business as well. They do some cool stuff. Um, Paddleboarding and those amazing electric foils that are so cool.
I
Um,
want Shelby. We need to learn how to do that when you're here.
yeah, y'all need to go out with Leah. Have her teach you that stuff. Um, and so we just kind of made friends visiting, and then we got our boats and we are going. And then when we come back,
We
there's
did
this.
talk about this on a live, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We come back and there's like this Ziploc bag on the truck with a note for Aaron, and it's a pair of really cool like leggings that the girls wear when they're on the water a lot.
Sunscreen, like their SPF legging.
UPF
Yeah.
leggings, yeah, with a note on it that just says "From your new mermaid friend." And I'm like, man,
We need to get back to that. If you guys, I think we have gotten away from that. And, we when we raised our family, we were good at loving on other people.
yeah.
And we need to get back to
I'm
that.
not saying you got to give me stuff
No.
because you don't, but just those. acts of kindness
Yes.
to
It
strangers
goes
that you
such a long
don't
way.
know. You don't know how it's going to affect their day, how it's going to affect their week, and how it might change their entire mindset about wherever their life is at that time. So we all need to be doing a lot more of that.
Amen, brother.
God, did we get deep? We were talking about an ugly DOA shrimp that looks like it came from Clown College, and then we got deep. How'd that happen? Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? Clown College. Somebody drop a comment. Please tell me I'm not the only person that knows about the Ringling Brothers Clown College.
Sarasota is home of the Ringling Brothers Museum, and I guess this is where Ringling Brothers started. So.
Yeah, that's where it all started. Yeah, that's where we live, in case you're wondering. That might be where a super secret spot is.
Well, that's all I got. Let me make sure we.
Yeah, anything else we hadn't tended to there?
Oh, Shelby and I are going foiling. I got to get with Leah. She said, I'm down.
Dang.
Get your core working, girl. Start doing.
I suspect that's going to be a workout.
Yeah, I'm excited. Oh, that's going to be so fun.
Also, one more thing, guys. Do us a favor. Keep our dog in your thoughts. That's crazy, right? She's laying over there. Wish you could see her.
She's our girlfriend.
Our dog is our best friend. She has been by our sides for more than 14 years, and she's the smartest, craziest, coolest dog you ever meet. She's Sunny, the Wonder Dog. She's a border collie, and you name it, she can do it. But the other day I came home, and I'm like, Sunny, and she always greets me at the door, and it's a whole thing. Um, I come in, and she's not there, and I start calling for her, and I hear her crying, and I go look, and she's laying on the floor on her side, flopping around, can't stand up, and is crying.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta tell you, it crushed me. It broke me for a minute. Don't know what happened. Our thoughts are most likely when we're gone, she sleeps in our bed, and our house is all like tile floors because we live in Florida and it's hotter than Hades here. Um, and I think probably she was jumping off the bed, and she slips a lot because she has a lot of hair on the bottom of her feet. And I think probably she slipped jumping off the bed and hurt her hip. And poor thing, that was Thursday.
No, Friday. Yeah.
That was Friday. Today's Tuesday, so Saturday, Sunday, Monday. 4 days later, she still can't walk on it. Uh,
And she will put weight on it when she's outside, and I think when she feels like she can get traction, but on the tiles, she's barely will put it down. So
Here she is.
she's
Just
our
so you can
baby.
see us.
She's not good on camera. She always looks so like.
Alex says she's a great dog. God bless. Time
Yeah.
and see you guys soon.
Bye, Alex.
This is her. That's my baby girl. That's Sunny the Wonder Dog. And poor thing, she's really hurting. So just keep her in your thoughts. So guys, that's it. We're gonna wrap this deal up for the night. But we sure do appreciate you guys, and we're gonna sign off as always. Remember, get up off that couch and do something that makes your day great for you today, not tomorrow, because it could all end today. And at the end of it all, if you don't go,
You don't know.
you just don't know. Thanks, guys. We'll see you.
Bye.
Check out this sunset.